I'm really interested by the shapes and the patterns, as well as the colour of the lines within this wood on these steps, and how all the little pebbles are nestled in between them. I photographed these steps a number of years ago before they were renovated, and it had the really old driftwood feel to it. Love the images. Obviously we have much more newer slats of wood here, but because it's at least a year if not 2 years old now, and the waves have been coming up over them, they're starting to get a bit weathered with the pebbles in them again. So I'm giving this a go just now. It's not really working as I was envisaging in my eye, but it's still fun to play around with nevertheless. I'm on this beach pretty much every week, and it always fascinates me how much it changes with the tides. I've never seen these grooves in the sand before. It almost reminds me of the craters in the moon. Must have been quite a lot of sand has come and been pushed up by the tides, because usually this area is all pebbles. So this is fascinating to see this, and how the sand has created these beautiful ripples and patterns and craters within the sands. I'm going to attempt to photograph some of these just now, just because it's something that I've never seen here before. And this is one of the reasons why photographing at the coast is so exciting, because it is a forever changing environment.
You may notice that I have a new down jacket. Thank you so much to everyone who has supported me on Ko-fi. As promised, the donations received in September went towards buying the down jacket to keep me warm on my photography outings this winter. I love it, and I am so grateful for your generosity. If you'd like to support my channel, you can find my Ko-fi link in the video description.
I'm not going to lie, I am struggling this morning. I'm surrounded by this beauty. It's a very minimal morning this morning. We have mist in places, it's very calm, warmer than I was expecting as well, so a little bit overdressed. And we have all this beautiful minimalism, and I'm struggling to compose it for some reason. I don't know why, but I think I'm going to have to change tack, because right now I'm trying to do landscape photography, which works incredibly well in these conditions. But I'm considering whether to do ICM, because the colours are just beautiful for that, with a little bit of motion in the waves, long exposures, or getting my telephoto lens on and zooming into people and silhouettes going up and down the beach, surrounded by that mistiness. So I'm going to go for a little walk, 5 minutes or so, recalibrate myself and see what stands out.
As you will see as the video progresses, my perception of how the photography was going didn't quite match the images I made. It appeared at the time that things weren't going well, but when I reviewed the images on the computer, they told a very different story. This is fascinating me.
landscape photography, and specifically seascapes, used to be the thing that lit me up like nothing else. It was like my passion. It was what I was best known for a few years ago on here. And this morning, and in fact a lot recently, I haven't got the same joy out of landscape photography. And by landscape photography, I'm referring to the more traditional style of landscape photography, the wider, vaster scenes with the foreground, middle ground and backgrounds. I used to absolutely love standing on the shore's edge with the waves coming in like this morning and photographing them, coming in with the white foam and retracting back into the sea. And I'm doing it this morning and I'm just feeling a little bit, I don't know how to describe it. There's like a flatness to it. I just wanted to share this because I think it's fascinating how our photographic eye and our photographic interests can change throughout the year. I got interviewed for a podcast last week, and one of the questions I got asked was, what has been your biggest challenge in your photography journey? And I said the biggest challenge for me has been to try and fit myself into a niche. I remember when I wanted to start making money out of this and make it into a living, I felt like I had to box myself in and have some sort of speciality, some sort of niche. And I was like, okay, maybe it's seascapes. And then I got into macro, and then I got into creative photography, and then I got into zooming into things. And I went from the seaside to woodlands. And I remember for a while I thought, oh my gosh, what is my niche? What is my niche? And then a couple of years ago, it hit me. We don't need to have a niche. We just need to go out and enjoy photographing the things that we like to photograph and also allow ourselves to evolve. You know, if you begin to fall out of love with a specific style of photography, there is countless other styles, genres, subjects, locations that you can explore. And I can guarantee if you open yourself up to that, you will find something that lights you up today. So don't box yourself in unless you want to. If you have a real passion for something specific, which many people do, follow that. But if you're like me and you love exploring and evolving and trying different things, give yourself permission to do that. We don't need to fit ourselves into a box. And at the end of that question in the interview, I said, you know, I've realised the last few years that I don't need a specific niche or genre of photography. Of course, I do nature photography, which I guess is a niche in itself. But within that, there's so many things that I explore. But what I am here to do is to show people how we can create wellness through photography, how getting out into nature with our cameras can help us to feel good, because that is what it's about. So if you ever have a morning like I'm having this morning where you're seeing so much beauty around you and you're trying to photograph and it's just not working out, or you're not that happy with the images, change tack. Be open to other opportunities. Try different lenses, try different styles. And if you're still struggling, simply sit down and admire the view. You're out in nature, you're in the elements, which means you're aligned with peace, with calm, with tranquility, and the essence of life. And there's nothing more beautiful than that.
Looking at these images, they have a real sense of time and energy. In the field, I struggled to see this, possibly because the sound of the waves was so loud to me that I got lost in the noise. But surrounded by so much visual beauty, I continue to create regardless.
And now I'm simply going to breathe and let my inner voice guide me.
Moved by the colour and motion, I switched to ICM and began painting with the waves. images turned out far better than I thought, and with my tummy starting to rumble, it was time to head back to the car and get my breakfast. I encourage you to allow time this week to simply sit and be. Ideally in nature, but you can also do this at home. Pause for 10 minutes and listen. No doing, no phones, just be. These moments of stillness will bring much peace and clarity your way. A great way to reset and appreciate the beauty that surrounds you.
Oh, what a lovely place to have breakfast. That was amazing. I was considering heading home, but I noticed there's still quite a lot of mist more inland, and it's kind of being pulled out over certain parts of the sea. As I am passing the river estuary on the way home, I'm just going to stop off there and just see what the mist looks like on the river, and who knows, maybe there'll still be some nice photographs to finish off the video today. Apart from a couple of really small patches of mist further inland, the mist has gone. But hey, this is such a beautiful place to end today's video. Hopefully you can hear all the geese in the background and the curlews, the wonderful birds. This time of year is so beautiful when you have all the migratory birds coming back, but also on days like today where it's so still and calm. Because the sound, it echoes far and wide. And the oyster catchers as well. Incredible. Well, this morning has been an interesting one. When I was driving here this morning, I saw a lot of mist in various places. I could have gone inland and done some woodland photography, gone to a local loch, or did something like that to make the most of the mist. But I decided to come here because I really wanted today to speak about this sense of stillness. And as I said earlier, it's been so interesting because this is an insanely still morning. It's so beautiful. And while the photography may not have unfolded in a particularly exciting way, I've definitely felt a sense of still, a sense of calm. And I felt very, very blessed to have witnessed the sea, the surging waves, the beautiful colours, the mistiness, the subtle tones that we had this morning. It was just absolutely divine. And if I hadn't have headed out, I would never have seen it. And this is what I want to end the video talking about today. When I began photography, I was so inspired by sunsets. Just the thought of going out and photographing a beautiful, colourful sunset was enough to get me out of the house. Nowadays, as we saw today, my passion for landscape photography isn't quite what it used to be, but I still absolutely love photographing nature. I've just switched, I guess, what a lot of my interests and focus is, as I've grown and evolved over the years. After all, it's 16 years since I started photography. I think it would be quite worrying if I was still in the same place and had the exact same interests as I did back then. So while my real deep passion for seascapes and sunrises and sunsets isn't quite what it used to be photographically, I still absolutely love photography. And actually, what photography gives me now is this incentive to head out. And it's the same with creating these videos for you guys. I love making videos. I love being out in nature. I love speaking through what I'm seeing. And this is an incentive enough to get me out of the house, get me out here and have these experiences that just fill me up and bring me so much joy. So this week, I'd love you, as well as to take that 10 minutes every day to sit and simply be, without doing anything, just be. I'd also like you to consider this mindset around photography. Why not use your camera as a tool to actually get you out into nature? There's been many days in my life where I've wanted to go for a walk, but I've talked myself out of it. Or days when I've thought, I can't be bothered going out, I'm just going to sit on the sofa and scroll on social media. But do you know what? I always regret not going out in the end. And if I don't consciously regret it, I know my mood and my energy depletes. I've had quite a few comments on my channel in recent weeks from people who say that, they struggle to get the motivation to go outside because they feel depressed or they feel lonely. Now, I get that because when I was 16 years old and I started photography, I was in a very dark place. Very dark. And I was incredibly lonely. But for some reason, photography gave me something that got me out despite how I was feeling. And while I would sink back into those feelings a couple of hours after I got home, when I was out in nature with my camera, I felt alive. And in fact, it was the only time back then that I felt truly lit up and alive. So this week, and moving forwards on your journey, rather than focusing on the images and going out to get images and potentially being disappointed with what you create, like I could have been this morning if I still had that mindset, but instead see it as this thing is an opportunity to get you out, to experience life, to make memories, to see beautiful moments. And if you're lucky enough to create some images you like in the process, then what a bonus. But just think about what going out can give you. And if photography and having a camera can be that tool that just gets you out the house, gets your body moving, gets you into a different environment, and gets you just to experience a change of scenery and breathe in the fresh air, then this thing can not only be a life changer, but it can be a life saver. So this week, if you find yourself trying to talk yourself out of getting outdoors or you just don't feel motivated, maybe try and just flip your mindset to, rather than going out to get photographs, let's go out and see what we can see and just focus on the experience that you may get from it. Because the first 10-15 minutes you might not feel any different, but the longer you're out there, you will certainly notice a change in your state, in your emotions, in your feelings, and in your energy. Because when we're out in nature, we are connecting with the essence of life. That's huge. Nature and the vibration of nature is the natural vibration of life, and we are part of nature. So the more time we spend out here, the more aligned and connected we become, not only with ourselves, but with the essence of life. And when I'm out here, it makes me feel alive, and it makes being alive 100% worth it. So something for you to ponder there to end today's video. As always, I want to say a huge thank you for watching, and thank you so much again to everybody who has supported me on Ko-fi. I love this jacket, and it's definitely going to be making many appearances on my channel this winter. And I wouldn't be wearing it right now if it wasn't for you guys. I genuinely appreciate your support, and any support that comes through Ko-fi will go straight back into this channel in some way. Whether it's buying gear to ensure that I can stay out and enjoy nature even in the coldest, harshest weather, or whether it's accessories or equipment to help with the channel and my photography, all the support that comes through Ko-fi will go back to supporting this channel in some way. And if you'd like to come and experience this place for yourself with my guidance, I am doing 2 coastal photography retreats next year on the Moray coast, one in April and one in September. So if you want to come on one of those retreats, you can find full details on my website, link in the description. May you have the most beautiful week ahead. I hope you manage to get out and about into nature, and if you're lucky to get some images that you love along the way, it's a fantastic bonus. I'll see you soon.